Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Yeah, Habibi, it's already Sunday, end of the month here on January. And I got to say, this weekend has been filled with a lot of surprises, some good and bad. One of I'd say I was surprised yesterday. My brother and my younger brother, Jibreel, came all the way from Arizona
that's
for a surprise
really nice.
visit. We'll be staying here for a good month. That was really nice. And it just, heck, sometimes, like, I miss the fact that I have such a big family. Like, we're 7 siblings in total.
Mashallah.
So, when one gets back, in the bunch, I'm like, oh, wow. It's, like, I do this thing where I count. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. That's a lot,
Those are my siblings, just double checking. Those are them, alhamdulillah. And mashallah, don't forget to say that.
Mashallah, diamond.
And of
Always
course,
grateful.
my weekend was not that bad, to be honest. Like, I thought it could go worse, but alhamdulillah,
We had WandaVision to keep us going.
Of course, here's the thing. The thing is, I keep forgetting that every Friday now we have WandaVision to look forward to.
It's such an exciting tradition.
Exactly, which is why we're going to be reviewing it as promised weekly. So that's going to be later on in the hour. And also, I've got some anime to keep up with every single week now. I've got Attack on Titan every Sunday night or Monday.
I noticed you're also watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes, Jujutsu Kaisen is every Friday. So around 7 p.m., that's when WandaVision comes out on OSN streaming.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the night, I just sit there waiting for anybody to put the subtitles on Jujutsu Kaisen because unfortunately, I do not speak Japanese. So I'm waiting for those amazing people all across the world who would sub those anime for us. And I'm just like, yes, it's
God bless
out. Shout out to all of them. They're amazing. I mean, the reason why the anime community is thriving is because of them. Yes, it's illegal, but they're the ones who keep us going, aren't they?
Well, if you do subscribe to Crunchyroll and other anime streaming sites, you can actually get...
Here's the thing. The one in the UAE, though, does not have that big of a library.
Oh, dear.
So it's sort of... it's the whole...
new, but still growing.
Exactly. That's the thing about a lot of streaming services, and we keep on talking about it every single time, is that I'm pretty sure the moment they start having a bigger library across the entire world, even when we're talking about Disney Plus that we don't even have here yet, we're relying on OSN streaming, and even OSN does not have every single Disney Plus title, so we end up having to resort to alternative links. So because of that, it's a loss, but sort of a win for us. But it's also a loss for the entire community. But we make do, basically.
You know what we know what has a little bit of everything.
What?
The afternoon Karak here on Pulse
definitely,
95. We're going to be reviewing the latest episode of WandaVision. Spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't watched it, so do be careful. We're also going to be talking about some movie delays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. This is the worst it's been, honestly.
I have a funny story about this. I cannot wait to talk about that. We are going to also be talking about Resident Evil 8. Everybody's going crazy about that.
Oh, it broke the internet, that's for sure.
It definitely did. They released a surprise demo for the PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, neither of us have a PlayStation 5 yet. So until that happens, we cannot really talk about the demo from a personal perspective.
I watched the demo. It was like 18 minutes. Very impressive.
We can talk about that later.
Definitely.
So many things to talk about, including a celebration. I also have it's not exactly a hill to die on this time. It's sort of like a what is it called? A speed bump.
Like a plane.
Just a plane to lay on, basically.
Great. It's like a picnic. Just come,
picnic.
Invite.
Yeah, it's a conversation this time. Don't worry, I'm not fighting anybody. It's Sunday, not in the mood to fight, especially with the upcoming song. I found it on TikTok, and it has a positive message. So we're trying to give out some positive vibes right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Definitely.
So stay tuned for that and much, much more only here on Pulse 95.
What's the date?
What's the date?
What's the date?
What are we celebrating today?
Today we will be celebrating a beautiful spread, a condiment. You can literally put it in everything.
We're spreading the love.
We're spreading the love. That's the song before this by Jessia indicates. We're trying to make this a happy day despite the movie delays and whatnot. Because today we are celebrating a beautiful thing that is peanut butter.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. good.
It's whether it's smooth or crunchy, peanut butter's been there in times when really I had really nothing to eat. You know?
I get that.
You know that moment where you just have that last piece of loaf of bread in the packet, and you just have peanut butter, and it's like, yeah, I can make this work, and it works. And even when you get things like jelly, honey, syrup, Nutella, just peanut butter is always there to help you out.
Also, peanut butter or peanut is like a well-known ingredient in a lot of East Asian cuisine, especially Thai cuisine. So peanut butter dressing on your salad is beautiful. Peanut butter ginger dressing is amazing. Peanut butter chicken. There's so many ways you can eat peanut butter. It's such a versatile thing, and I believe the thing about peanut butter that I love so much is it also opened the door to other nut butters, which is what the thing that I want to add to today, that even though peanut butter is amazing, I also think that almond butter is really good as well. It has a different sort of depth of flavor that I believe that everybody should be trying. So those moments when you feel like perhaps peanut butter is not the right thing to eat, try almond butter. It works. Just trust me.
Pistachio spreading. Oh, Lord, that is really delicious. Expensive. You gotta save a little money for that.
Make your own then.
Oh, that's true.
Just get a processor and that's it. That's all you need to do. Add a little bit of salt, and that's good.
Okay, but then the pistachio itself is, a little expensive.
How is pistachio expensive? Mikhail, where do you shop?
Jamaica.
Where do you shop? I mean...
have you seen a pistachio per kilo? It's a little pricey.
I mean, it's worth it.
It's like a once-a-month purchase for me. That's how I do it.
It's worth it, to be honest. I mean, pistachios are amazing. They're versatile. Peanut butter is the same thing. Almond butter, the same thing. If you want to make your own, it's also very easy. I did attempt to make my own peanut butter and nearly blew up the entire house with a processor.
Oh my God.
It started to smell, and I was like, perhaps I should unplug it. Basically, you need a very strong processor because it needs to process for quite a while so that the peanut spread can basically separate or something like that. Basically, it needs to keep on moving and churning and churning and churning until you actually get the peanut butter.
So it's better if you just hop onto your closest supermarket and grab a jar of peanut butter.
Or invest in a better processor. I honestly went to my mom and I was like, what kind of processor do we have? Shame on us. She's like, what did you do? I'm like, nothing, but what kind of processor is this? We need a better one.
See, you dismissed the fact that you're trying to make peanut butter.
No, she knew I was doing something in the kitchen at 3 a.m., but she had no idea.
I think your parents at this point don't even question your experiments in the kitchen.
They're like, she just goes into the kitchen for like 3 hours and comes back. She walks in with nothing and walks out with nothing. She must have done something. That's all. I mean, as long as I clean up after me, who cares, right?
Yeah. No damage, no harm.
I mean,
we're good to go.
There could have been some damage, but again, we saved myself the kitchen and also my mom's tiny processor. And that's also when I discovered we actually have another bigger processor that my mom has been hiding.
Oh dear.
So maybe one day.
For all good reasons, probably.
Maybe one day I will go back to trying out to make my own homemade peanut butter. Guys, how are you celebrating Peanut Butter Day? You got so many ways to do that. Text us 4215. It's a lot. Or do and tell us all about it. Coming up next is our WandaVision review.
Boy.
Episode 3. Full of spoilers. Stay tuned for that.
Is it an epic or epic failure? The Big Review. Movies, games, and TV in focus.
Pulse 95.
We are back with our new tradition. That is the review of the latest episode of WandaVision. Our reason to get excited about the weekend. Not that you need to be excited about the weekend. It's the weekend. But sometimes you need to be a little bit more excited. So thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Disney Plus, for giving us something from the MCU because all of us have been starving for content. And I believe this episode finally gave us that movement. I did not expect that. I thought, okay, hold on. First of all, spoiler alert. We are going towards spoiler territory. So, guys, if you haven't watched the third episode of WandaVision, come back and within like 10 minutes, and then we'll go back to our next story. So, what I was saying is that I did not expect this movement, this basically the last
the pacing, you could say.
Exactly. The last part of the story. I thought they're going to drag the whole, the illusion or Wanda's delusion a bit longer. We wouldn't have gotten some more evidence, or at least we're just going to get some Easter eggs and some small hints here and there because
Yeah.
there are 9 episodes. So we have a good 6 episodes to go.
But now we're seeing the cracks in her own reality.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and what I like is the jump from the 50s, 60s sitcom to now the 70s style sitcom. And it's really, especially you can see in the intro, something similar to the Brady Bunch, if you ever watched that 70s show.
Yes.
It has such a interesting, cinematic style to it. But then it slowly has the disturbing moments. Like, for example, the neighbor when he's sort of cutting down the fence, but he's also kind of like staring intently into, Vision. And then there's this other scene when Vision himself, which also shows that he is not a part of this. He's not part of this reality.
Exactly.
And as he's slowly questioning, there's this moment. Oh my God, me and my friend were watching it last night, where he's like, "There's something wrong here." And then I thought it was like an editing error, but no, it was like an abrupt cut. And it went back to him saying something else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Wanda, you crazy.
Exactly. Let me go back as well to episode 1 and 2. Somebody noticed what they claim is a mistake from Marvel's part, and I believe it was intentional, maybe to give something off. Again, it could be a mistake, but again, from my point of view, I think it's intentional. They noticed that the part where Vision was sitting on a swing, again, in the previous episode, you could see his hand. Like, his hand is actually a robot hand, and then part of his sleeve shows a normal hand, even though he was in his robot form. So people were saying, "Oh, look at Marvel, look at what they did." I'm like, perhaps
That's intentional.
It's intentional to show that Wanda is messing around. This is not how he's supposed to look like. But here's the thing: what this episode kind of questions is that, like you said, is Vision part of the charade, or is he even real? That's my question. Because it showed that he kind of is aware of his surroundings, despite the fact we were questioning, you and I last time, whether he was even resurrected. Because back in Endgame, we never really saw Vision back. Did you see him? Because I don't recall that at all.
Just Wanda fighting Thanos.
Exactly.
That's it.
Because she was very angry and she starts fighting him and whatnot. But I don't recall any reuniting moment with Vision and Wanda. So it begs the question, is it a real Vision? As in, is it a vision of Vision? What is going on? And then the very end of it, when you have the neighbors whispering to each other, what's his name? It was Agnes, and I forgot the guy's name. Was it Ben, I believe?
Let's say he's Ben.
Let's say it's Ben. We're really sorry. You've got terrible memory. But they're talking and whispering with each other, and that's when Vision starts kind of questioning, what is going on here? What are they whispering about? And they kind of hint towards Wanda. They're like, what is going on with Wanda? And what is, what's her name? What's her name again?
Monica.
Geraldine.
Yeah.
Geraldine.
Oh my God.
Geraldine. What is Geraldine doing at home? Well, she's new. What is going on?
She has no home. She doesn't work.
Also, but here's the thing. They referred to her as Geraldine, but when Wanda saw her the first time and she said Geraldine, she was like, no, Foxy.
Okay.
So,
I didn't even notice that.
Is that Geraldine? Is that Foxy? Is this Monica? Who is this person exactly? We know she's Monica Rambeau, but why does she have different names? Why is she part of SWORD? Like at the very end when Wanda expels her out of this realm, it kind of hinted to me, at least, that Wanda is having some sort of
denial
or breakdown. So she kind of created this entire place to protect herself and have her own kind of memories, her own kind of story to rewrite her own reality. But the question is, are those people, those 3 SWORD agents, are they there on purpose? Did they get sent in, or did they get stuck there by mistake? Are they just checking out and to see what's going on with Wanda? I'm going to stick with the fact that they were sent in to help Wanda get out of this mental breakdown.
By doing some sort of like little bits of reality checks, like when Geraldine tells her, it's like, oh, Pietro, the one who got killed by Ultron. And that's just like a fourth wall breaking moment.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of their strategies. They're trying to bring her back to a more sane mental state, but then it backfires.
Exactly.
And so this weird entity that's SWORD, it seems like they are still monitoring this reality bubble that she's created, and it seems like it's still not over. There's a lot of just little clues, no answers yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're gonna wait until next Friday to see what's in store for WandaVision. It's so exciting.
Super excited for this one. It's getting really good. The pace is actually very nice.
Yeah.
We cannot wait to talk about it next week. And coming up next, we're gonna be talking about some movie delays. Very upsetting, and I have a funny story about that. Stay tuned for that. We've got more TikTok music. Coming up next is You Broke Me First by Tate McRae.
This is Pulse 95.
Tell you a quick funny story. So on Twitter, a well-known Twitter account, I forgot who it is, I believe it was discussing film or something like that. They were talking like, oh, what is your most anticipated movie of 2021? And I was like, I'm not anticipating a single thing because I know everything is going to get delayed and I know everything is going to be just like 2020 where they're like, hey, I look forward to this and that.
Makes sense because you and I, throughout 2020, literally our job was just reporting delay after delay. You know, like,
exactly.
I'm sorry if there's not enough reviews out there, but there's delays. What can we do?
What can we do about that? And funny enough, 2 hours later, Sony starts delaying all of their big titles, one after the other. And then MGM and everything. I mean, Bond was the one that kicked it off. Morbius, Ghostbusters, Uncharted, all of them have been pushed back either later on in the year or, well, in 2022. And that just like...
It hurts.
It hurts a lot, and it just shows
I got some
that...
tissue right here. I'm going to just like...
I don't blame
figuratively
you.
wipe the tears.
It's funny because it was pushed towards your birthday. Then my birthday, now it's closer towards your birthday again. So it's like... MGM, can you pick a birthday you would like to celebrate properly?
I've won, but at what cost?
Did you win that?
No.
We don't know because...
Just like the TikTok song, MGM, You Broke Me First.
That's a good one.
This is the fourth delay, guys. I'm not joking. I don't think any other production studio out there has done this many delays. I get it. It's James Bond. It's one of the most iconic film franchises out there. Mm-hmm. But at this point, I'm like, just put it in a streaming service. Like, I want to watch it already. I don't have no time to die for this. Literally and figuratively speaking.
That's a good one. See, the thing is, it just shows how those studios are kind of very, very, very nearsighted. It's ironic because they're pushing things because they believe things will get better very soon. But
theaters are slowly closing. Imagine by the time it comes out, there's not enough theaters to make any box revenue.
It's not even about theaters to make box office revenues. It's about the fact that is the spending that they're doing, because every time they delay it, remember we spoke about it when it comes to MGM at least, that every single time they keep the movie away from streaming or they do not release
They're losing money.
They're losing money because they need to pay a specific amount in the millions. Imagine the next delay. So this 2-year delay or year and a half delay, is it worth the amount of money that they just spent and are going to keep on spending in the next couple of months? That's my question, and I know the answer is just certainly, definitely no. It's definitely not
Hollywood
worth it.
Stubbornness. But let's see if Disney is just as stubborn, because they have a couple of movies slotting in later this year, even Illumination Studios. For example, Fast and Furious 9, Black Widow, Minions, Top Gun Maverick. So we're kind of waiting for those. If already some of these movies have been delayed. Like, I'm surprised Uncharted getting delayed until next year. So again, this feels like a repeat of some moments in 2020 where just like a domino effect is gonna ensue from this.
I'm just worried that other production studios would also follow suit. Because, the thing is, we spoke about it as well last week, that Sony does not really have a streaming service, just like Disney. Disney is smart now after trying it out with Mulan. They're like, it worked with Mulan, it worked with Soul, because Soul actually became one of the top streamed movies of the Christmas time. So they're very smart that they release it around that time. And if you notice, they keep around a couple of weeks, a couple of months between every single release. From Soul to the next movie, Raya and the Last Dragon, we have at least a month and a half or 2 months in between. So it gives them time for all these places across the world with open theaters. They can go and watch it there. And also, the ones who have the streaming service Disney Plus, they can slowly watch it there as well. So it's smart of them. And between Raya and Black Widow is another 2 months. So it gives them a lot of time to slowly make up for the box office loss and somehow hit or at least break even in one way or another. So perhaps Sony should finally give in and give the movies to a streaming service, whether it's HBO, but I don't think it's HBO because HBO has Warner Brothers, maybe Netflix, maybe Apple TV. Please, for God's sake, do not delay it any longer than that. It's just going to cause problems for you. I honestly don't know what they're thinking of, but what we're thinking of right now is a short break because we do have the sports headlines coming up next. We've got some rumors and much more coming up right here on Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95.
Just as we reported earlier, right before the news, is the just the consecutive movie delays from various production studios. It seems, and like we've said before, that streaming is king for this year, and with Disney just last December basically unveiling the huge roster of series for things like the Star Wars and Marvel, Warner Bros. Realizes, they got to really take advantage of their franchises. And their bread and butter, once upon a time, was Game of Thrones. And it seems that they are looking to order more Game of Thrones prequel, several of them actually, besides the one that we know, the upcoming prequel series House of Dragons, which takes place a couple of hundred years back, talks about the Targaryens and their family. This time they're working on a project based on one of George R.R. Martin's novels, or sort of like a collection of novels that sort of come together. It's called The Dunk and Egg, and it's apparently in early development.
So Dunk and Egg follows the adventures of Sir Duncan the Tall Dunk and a young Aegean V Targaryen, Egg, 90 years prior to the events of A Song of Ice and Fire. And it follows 3 different novellas. Now listen to this. The novellas were released in the years 1998, 2003, and 2010. Just like, in
Typical George.
Typical George, like the 10-year or 9-year difference between the publication of each and every, book. But at least we do have all the material needed for a full series to be, created. We don't have anybody attached to this project. No names in terms of the cast and no names in terms of production, no director, no nothing. And just like Mikhail said, it is very smart of them to capitalize on whatever they have, especially after the the dismal ending to between season 6 and 8 of Game of Thrones. So perhaps this will kind of help them revive the hype and revive the entirety of the fandom.
There's also reports of them working on another prequel that's going to be based around the events of the Roberts Rebellion. This is talks about the story 30 years right before the events of Game of Thrones, when the houses come together, House Baratheon, House Stark, to fight against the Mad King, the Targaryen King, which I know a lot of fans would love to see because it gets talked about all the time throughout the show. So might as well make a story out of that. Would be nice because that story is completed, so you don't have to really kind of make up your own 2 seasons and have a bad ending.
Oh yeah.
Oof, okay, the flashbacks. Try to repress them.
We're gonna stop now because that's enough talking badly about it. We do have hope.
More Game of Thrones. That's so exciting.
Exactly, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't really care about the franchise. I'm really sorry about that.
Disclaimer.
But again, it's also exciting to see when, like we said, production company is just very aware of what the fans want. But I'm just kind of worried. Is this too many prequels after each other? Is it too many information? Is it taking advantage of the franchise way too much? Should they perhaps move on to the other franchises? Because I'm thinking about Westworld as well, and their ability to also branch out within that universe. And we know that they cannot really film Westworld and Game of Thrones at the same time because they're both very big budget. So should they be putting this franchise aside, or should they be? What are they supposed to do? I feel like they shouldn't neglect some of them like that.
Still in early development. You never know. They might just get scrapped right after a pilot, like one of the one of the other prequels they made. I think it was the Lone Knights or something. It was actually going to be the origins of Westeros, but that kind of got scrapped. So maybe that could happen. We don't know. But I know it's going to be exciting to return to the world of Game of Thrones. But another return that maybe got people excited is Thanos. My boy might be returning back to a particular upcoming Marvel film. So stay tuned.
Speculation, gossip, or hoax. Rumor has it.
I'm loving the way how, I'd say maybe Kevin Feige or whoever's the team in charge of fixing or at least keeping track of the entirety of the MCU timeline, slowly dropping hints here and there about what we can expect. We've been hearing about the Young Avengers perhaps appearing, and the whole thing with the twins in WandaVision. Now, this is not a spoiler. We saw that in the trailer that Wanda and Vision have twins. And what some people don't know is that the kids, Billy and Tommy, are actually Wiccan and Speed in the Marvel comics, and they're not spoilers.
Well, just anybody.
Again, if you've seen the trailers, it literally shows her being pregnant and her pushing around twins in a pram. So we all know.
This is for people who don't read the comics, let's say.
Everybody knows it's called research. It's called research, it's not spoilers. Our spoilers were in their previous segment where we spoke about WandaVision. If you missed out on that, you can always check out our podcast, check out The Afternoon Karak, wherever you listen to podcasts, and that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Rami, again, wherever you listen to podcasts. But let's go back to whatever's happening in the MCU timeline. So Wiccan and Speed might appear in Young Avengers. We don't even know if the Young Avengers are happening, but we do know that Miss Marvel is definitely happening. And what is definitely happening, or maybe is it a rumor, and that is the return of the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, and in none other than the Eternals.
Which is coming out later this year. If you guys don't know the Eternals, they are sort of like the, you could say the old race of humans. They're immortal and they've lived for over 7,000 years. And somewhat, the rumor says, and this comes from the creator of, the co-creator of Eternals, Jim Starlin, who claims he's heard rumors of the Endgame somewhat setting up the Eternals film, where now the Eternals are awakened after the events of Endgame, and they're going to sort of pop up. He says, I believe I heard some rumors that he's coming back in different things. I think I've heard confirmed from Marvel Studios is that he's going to be at least a guest appearance inside Eternals, so that he's going to be around. This is not anything I'm making up. This is something I've read somewhere. And what I think this means is that, of course, we're not going to see Thanos return anytime soon, but maybe see a bit of a backstory of him, because in the comics, if anybody does their research as well, you would know that Thanos' parents are Eternals as well. So that could sort of connect in some way, and we get to see some more backstory or some more screen time of our, favorite villain, Thanos. I do love him because he is one of the only villains where they really flushed him out in 2 movies, and he just kind of
not even 2 movies. The entirety of the MCU was slowly introducing him bits by bits, all the way back in Thor. One of the first post-credit scenes, when you watch it, you see, you see his hand, or you see just his throne, and you see just small bits and pieces here and there that hyped you up for 10 years, all until you get to finally meet him in Infinity Wars. And it just tells you how smart Kevin Feige is and the entirety of the team in Marvel Studios who are handling the MCU timeline. And I believe that maybe, what if they resurrect him?
Ooh.
They do have the powers, right? They probably do.
A lot of characters do come back in the comics, so why not in MCU? So
why not? I mean, they might resurrect him, just yell at him, and then kill him off again. We don't know what might happen.
Imagine if he becomes an ally.
Maybe he can.
And there's a couple of comic stories where he's like that.
We don't know. As far as we know, or at least as far as we believe or predict, that it's just most likely going to be some flashbacks. Coming up next, the Resident Evil game that took the internet by storm and drove everybody insane about the tall vampire lady that apparently everybody wants to be chased by. Stay tuned for that and much more right here on the Afternoon Karak.
You're listening to Pulse 95.
A couple of weeks ago, we kind of got a small preview of what is coming out from Resident Evil 8. And during that preview, we got introduced to the character, or it's called like the main villain, whoever it is, who would be chasing the main character across the entirety of the premise. And everybody was introduced to tall vampire lady, who was Lady Dimitrescu, and people have been going
Thank God you know how to pronounce the name, because I would have butchered it.
I'm trying my best. It's a difficult name, and apparently they did release a small demo. It's around, it's like, again,
18, 20 minutes. It's called Maiden. And I didn't get the chance. I don't have PS5, but I did get the chance to watch it, and I gotta say, really, really impressive. Just the RE engine that they've been working on, it just really shows. It's a visually spectacular game, and it's perfect for the setting where it's set in this like big sort of aristocrat mansion, and it tells the story of a maid who was. It's not really from the main character. It's just one of the maids, and she's sort of trying to escape out of the little basement. As she walks out into the mansion, she gets chased by the hosts, you could say, the people,
the tall vampire lady.
the tall vampire lady, and her daughters, of course.
Of course, I mean that's what good children should do. They obey their parents, filial piety and whatnot. Even if your mother happens to be a menace.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting game. I mean, even I'm not a horror game person. I get scared of, I admit this every single time, I get scared of Ace Attorney. For some reason, it freaks me out.
Oh, because like they might be dealing with like serious cases.
Creepy, okay? It's a fun game. It's hilarious, but then it just freaks me out. But I'm quite interested in it. It's just the way that Resident Evil just changes and transpires, and the way that it engages its loyal fans and the community so much, to the extent that there was lots of fan art the moment the game was announced. The demo came out literally 5 minutes later. My entire timeline is filled with a lot of pictures. It also teases Netflix's upcoming Resident Evil movie, because we do know that the movie is going to be coming out very soon, and I'm very excited about it. Again, whether it's an animation or whether it's live action, whether you are a fan of Resident Evil or not, I think it's a very, very good project, and there's so many to talk about within this new universe.
I also just like to express the disappointment that fans have just about the fact that they thought this showcase was going to be the little hint to the Resident Evil 4 reboot, because when we saw the gameplay for Resident Evil Village, people noticed the shopkeeper, which is something that is only in Resident Evil 4. So it was like hint, from the developers. So then they also showed the weapon management, inventory management, which is also a mechanic in Resident Evil 4. And again, it's like hint. Are we really building up to a exciting announcement?
Yeah.
But we got nothing for that. So I will express there is a bit of disappointment from fans for that. But it all gets compensated by the large and lovely.
No, it's tall vampire lady.
Tall vampire lady. Oh my God. I can't get enough of her. She really broke the internet. And
she's fantastic.
I can't wait to play this game.
We cannot wait.
For all the right reasons.
Okay, Mikhail, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back with Aisha and Mikhail Suggest, so stay tuned for that.
It's almost 5 p.m.
That was Afternoon Karak. For dessert,
Aisha and Mikhail Suggest.
What a great way to start off the week here on the Afternoon Karak. And if you missed out on all the fun or any of it, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Pulse 95 Radio, where we will have this show uploaded right after the show ends. If you also want to tune into our podcast, then just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Rami. Just type up Afternoon Karak and you're good to go. But it is a wrap here on the Afternoon Karak. We got to bid our farewells. But before we do, we always love to give you guys a lovely and suggestive suggestion. It's a little wordy, but we're going there.
Suggestion. Well, today's suggestion coincides with what we are celebrating. Yes, we are celebrating Tall Vampire Lady. We are celebrating WandaVision. We are celebrating a lot of things today. But also, we are celebrating Peanut Butter Day. Now, because peanut butter is well known, everybody uses peanut butter. They add it to all kinds of foods. They add it to their toast. You can add peanut butter to your cakes, cookies. You can add it to your salad dressing, to your chicken, to your beef. You can go crazy with your peanut butter. However, in spirit of peanut butter, why not try other type of butters? Why not almond butter?
I actually want to try that. You described
So
it. Where can I find that?
Everywhere.
Okay, great.
Everywhere. Go to the Jam'iyya Romania, go to
organic
Smitty's.
aisle or something
Most likely organic aisle, or even wherever you find all the spreads. You can also find pistachio butter, which is really nice as well.
Awesome.
I'm more of an almond butter person, and I do love my peanut butter, but unfortunately, my favorite peanut butter brand is all the way from Kuwait. And I know that I talk about this every time I bring up peanut butter, but it's my favorite brand. And obviously, I haven't been to Kuwait for an entire year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And although I miss my family there a lot, but I also miss the peanut butter so much.
Kuwaiti fans, hook us up. 4215 Instant
Please, I need that peanut butter from Pick. It is so good. They make it in-house. And whenever my cousins, even if I don't go there, my cousins are coming over or my cousins are going to Kuwait, I'd be like, hey, so you know what I want, right? They're like, yes, we do. We know what you want. The other day, last year or the year before, back in 2019, I actually texted my cousin. I was like, hi. And she's like, yeah, I know. I know.
That's it.
That's all.
Amazing.
I just said, hi, how are you? She's like, peanut butter, right? I'm like, peanut butter.
It's like, yeah, I know why you calling.
I know why.
I'm good, thank you.
Exactly. She's like, I know why you texted me. It's not to check up on me, but because you want peanut butter. I'm like, yeah, I do want peanut butter. She's like, how many pieces? I'm like, as many as you can get. I think she got me like maybe 5 or 8 of them that kept me going throughout 2020. But throughout the last half of 2020, I had no peanut butter. So I'm going through it, guys.
Damn, you're really hyping me up for this stuff.
Peanut butter from Kuwait. Inshallah, when things maybe ease down in Kuwait as well, I might be able to go there and get me just a whole bunch of peanut butter. And if my cousins are tuning in right now in Kuwait, just send me like 5 of them maybe. That would be really nice.
A whole box.
A whole box of them would be really nice of you guys. And what is nice as well is that we've got Yellow Home coming up next. Anna Schofield and Big House will be keeping you entertained all the way from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.